Merhaba. It's so nice to be with Brand Week Istanbul and all of you who are watching from all parts of the world. I'm Madeline DiNono, and I have the privilege of serving as the CEO of the Geena Davis Institute on Gender in Media. I'm thrilled to be with you today, and I'm thrilled to have this opportunity to present our most recent study in partnership with Cannes Lions. So since 2004, the Institute has always taken a data-driven approach to our advocacy, and we've been very successful. In the past 2 years, we have been able to achieve gender parity for female lead characters in films from the United States, the top 100 films in the United States, as well as the highest rated and most popular children's television shows in the United States. So now we're hoping that we can achieve gender equity with female characters in global advertising. So what I'm going to walk you through is actually the third update to our Cannes Lions study. And we want to thank Cannes Lions for being so proactive. They actually reached out to me in 2016 to start this work after I had the privilege of serving as a jury president for the Glass Lions. So this study, as I mentioned, is our third update. And what we did is we analyzed 251 Cannes Lions film and film craft advertisements, English speaking or English subtitled, from 2019. And we compared it to 2,270 Cannes Lions film and film craft ads from 2006 to 2019. So I just want to tell you a little bit about how we do what we do. We use a combination of machine learning and human expert coding. So the machine learning, our tool is called the Geena Davis Inclusion Quotient, GDIQ, and it was funded by Google.org and developed for us in partnership with Dr. Sri Narayan, who leads the SAIL laboratory at the USC School of Engineering, USC Viterbi School of Engineering. And then for the human expert coding, that is led by our very own Dr. Caroline Heldman, who leads a team of about 15 PhD researchers. So let's dive in. The Institute has 6 key dimensions that we look at for all of our research. The conversation clearly has gone beyond gender, and it's really important that we look at an intersectional lens. So the key categories for our research includes gender, race, LGBTQ+, disability, characters ages 60+, and characters with large body types, which I will explain as we move on. So in terms of our major findings, we level set against the real world, even though our adverts and our films and our TV are fictional. So in terms of gender, women make up 51% of our population. However, when it comes to advertising, we actually saw a decline from 39.9%, almost 40% in 2018, to a drop of 38.6% in 2019. However, we did see a positive note in that the percentage of screen and speaking time went up. So it increased to 30.6% for screen time, 33.5% for speaking time, and that represented a 7.4% increase, and then for speaking time, a 5.7% increase since 2018. Why is this important? It's one thing to count how many female characters there are. It's a whole nother thing to say, is that female character appearing and speaking with the same authority, with the same agency as the male counterpart? And when we did this study the first time, when we looked at 2006 to 2012, we actually had found that male characters were appearing 4 times more and speaking 7 times more. So it's really important that we also look at the screen time and the speaking time. In terms of other characteristics, we see that male characters are nearly 2 times more likely to be shown as working, Male characters are more likely to be depicted as leaders, and male characters are more likely to be shown as funny. So we're still highly stereotyping these female characters. In terms of sexualization, and we know Madonna Badger has talked a lot about this at Cannes Lions, these female characters are pretty much so young, dumb, and sexy. They are 4 times more likely to be shown in sexually revealing clothing, 2 times more likely to be shown as partially nude, 6 times more likely to be shown as verbally objectified, and 3 times more likely to be shown as visually objectified. And visually objectified, we mean the camera is just showing them as body parts and not as fully expressed human beings. Now, race and ethnicity is dependent on where you are in the world. So for the US, people of color are 38% of our population. In the UK, it's 18%. South Africa, 91%. Brazil, 52%. So race, ethnicity are a construct. But overall, as I said, people of color are 38% of the US, and in 2019, they were 38% as well. In terms of the overall percentage of characters from our Cannes Lions study, it actually went down from 43% to 38%. So it's hard to say, is that a good number or not? It depends on where you are in the world. However, characters of color account for 46.4% of screen time, which is an increase. So at least from a screen time perspective, we were moving forward. Also, in 2018, we saw that white characters and characters of color were equally likely to be shown as smart. Not so much in 2019. We actually saw a decrease. Same thing when it came to working. Again, a decrease in 2019. Now, given the global movement to fight racial injustice, not only in the US, but around the world, we wanted to do a deeper dive in terms of Black people. So again, depending on where you are in the world, the population is 14% in the US, 13% in Europe, 76% in South Africa, and 8% Brazil represent Black people. In terms of the last few years that we've done our Cannes Lions study, you've seen actually, an increase from 2018, but definitely a drop from 2017. Also, in terms of stereotypes, Black characters are stereotyped as less professional, less funnier than white characters. And in terms of women, because again, we look at the intersection of gender and race, only 30.5% of the Black characters overall were female. And Black women are more sexualized than white women. I mean, look at this number. Black female characters are 7 times more likely than white female characters to be shown as visually objectified, 4 times more likely than white female characters to be shown as verbally objectified, much, much higher numbers. Now, moving into the other dimensions, as I said, we have LGBTQ+, we have disabilities, we have age, we have body type. LGBTQ+ around the world make up about 10% of our global population, but again, only 1.8% of the characters are LGBTQ+, and it's almost hard for me to say it's a decrease. Like, how can it get any worse? Also, for LGBTQ+, heterosexual characters are much more likely to be shown as working, more smart. When it comes to disabilities, our global population, people with disabilities, it could be communication disability, physical disability, cognitive disability, are 15% of our global population. But again, only 2.2% of the characters have disabilities. And that's an increase since 2018. But to say a 2.2% increase, it's hard to get excited about that number. Also, characters with disabilities are far more likely to be depicted as smart. So at least that's one positive characteristic. In terms of age 60 plus, people ages 60 plus make up 19% of our global population. As you all know, as advertisers and brand leaders, women who are in their 50s are the healthiest and the wealthiest in the world. But again, overall, adults 60 plus, only 7% of the characters. And younger characters are more likely to be shown, in an office. There's a lot of stereotypes. They're the brunt of a joke, so it's the joke is on them. They are less likely to be shown as being fit, or having a love life. So there's a lot of discrimination. And last but not least, body type. So people with larger body types make up nearly 40% of our global population, but again, only 7.2% of the characters have large body types. And actually, body type and age are two new dimensions, so that's why you don't see a comparison to 2018. So we've added that as a newer dimensions for Cannes Lions work this year. And characters with large body types are more likely to be shown as working, but shown as being lazy, again, stupid. They're always eating or drinking, or the brunt of the joke. So a lot of discrimination, a lot of stereotypes. So what can you do? Well, A, use an intersectional lens. You not only have to look at the composition of your team behind the camera, who's writing the brief, who's producing it, who's directing, but you really need to look at who are all the characters, because there may be, say, 2 characters that are leading an advertisement, but there may be 50 to 100 overall cast, depending on, is it a park, is it a bank, is it a museum? And that's a great opportunity to infuse all kinds of diversity and inclusiveness without changing the story, without changing the joke, without changing any of the brand essence. So that's what I have for you today. And I hope this was very helpful. And again, I wanted to thank you very much.